Imagine waking up one morning, looking at your rabbit and noticing something strange. Your rabbit is sitting quietly in its enclosure, eating hay like normal. It drinks water, it moves around. Everything looks completely fine. But there's one thing you don't see anymore. Your rabbit isn't producing or isn't eating. Something that most people never even realize is part of a rabbit's normal daily routine. And this seemingly disgusting behavior is actually connected to one of the most important survival mechanisms in the rabbit's entire body. So what happens when a rabbit stops doing it? Can a rabbit really die within 48 hours? And why would an animal ever need to eat something that came out of its own body in the first place? Today, we're going deep inside the rabbit's digestive system to uncover one of nature's strangest and most fascinating adaptations. At first glance, the idea sounds unbelievable. A rabbit eats its own droppings. Yes, but there's a huge difference between what most people think of as rabbit poop and what the rabbit is actually consuming. And understanding that difference changes the entire story. Rabbits don't simply eat ordinary fecal pellets because they're hungry or because something is wrong with them. They have evolved a highly specialized digestive system that allows them to extract nutrients from tough plant material that many animals simply cannot digest efficiently. Part of that process involves producing a special, nutrient-rich material called a cecotroph. And unlike ordinary dry fecal pellets, cecotrophs are soft, moist, and packed with products of microbial fermentation. To understand why rabbits consume them, we have to follow a piece of food through the rabbit's body. And before we go any further, there's something important to clear up. You may have heard the claim that if a rabbit stops eating its cecotrophs, it will automatically die in exactly 48 hours. That's not an established biological rule. There is no universal countdown clock that starts the moment a rabbit fails to consume a cecotroph. Rabbits are individuals, and what happens depends on why the behavior has stopped, how long the problem continues, the rabbit's diet, its health, and whether it is still eating normal food. But that doesn't make the situation harmless. A rabbit that cannot properly perform cecotrophy can develop nutritional problems, digestive disturbances, and other health issues. And if the reason the rabbit has stopped is that it has stopped eating altogether, that is a much more urgent problem. In rabbits, refusing food can rapidly become dangerous because their digestive system is designed around constant movement. To understand cecotrophs, imagine that your rabbit has a two-stage meal system. The first meal begins when the rabbit bites into a piece of hay. Its teeth slice through the plant material, its jaws grind it down, and the food mixes with saliva before traveling down the esophagus. It enters the stomach, then moves into the small intestine, where some nutrients are absorbed. But the rabbit is a herbivore, and much of its diet is made of fibrous plant material. Cellulose is extremely difficult for mammals to break down on their own. Humans cannot digest it efficiently. Rabbits can't either. So instead, rabbits depend on a remarkable partnership with microorganisms living inside their digestive system. The real digestive magic happens farther down the system, inside an organ called the cecum. Think of the cecum as a specialized fermentation chamber. It contains a huge community of microorganisms that help break down plant material that the rabbit itself cannot digest. These microbes ferment components of the food and generate useful compounds, including volatile fatty acids, along with microbial biomass and other nutrients. The rabbit's digestive system has evolved to make use of this microbial activity. But there's a problem. The cecum isn't positioned at the end of the digestive system like a final storage tank, where every nutrient can simply be absorbed and sent into the bloodstream. The rabbit needs a clever way to recover the nutritional products created there. And that is where cecotrophs enter the story. At certain times of the day, The rabbit's digestive tract changes what it sends towards the colon. Instead of producing the familiar, hard, dry pellets that you normally see scattered around a rabbit's enclosure, the digestive system produces a softer material containing the products of cecal fermentation. These are cecotrophs. The rabbit usually produces them at particular times, often when it is resting, and instead of allowing them to fall onto the ground, the rabbit bends around and takes them directly from the anal area. To a human observer, this can look bizarre, but biologically, it is incredibly efficient. The rabbit doesn't need to leave valuable nutrients lying around. It simply retrieves the material directly and sends it through the digestive system again. This is where the language can get confusing. People often call cecotrophs soft poop, and technically they come out of the digestive tract, but calling them ordinary poop doesn't really explain what they are. Ordinary fecal pellets are mostly the material the rabbit's digestive system has already extracted useful nutrients from. They are relatively dry, firm, and fibrous. Cecotrophs are different. They contain a much higher concentration of microbial products and nutrients generated during fermentation. They are part of a normal digestive recycling process. So, when your rabbit consumes cecotrophs, it isn't simply eating waste because it has no other option. It is recovering nutrients that would otherwise be lost. This behavior has a scientific name, cecotrophy, and it is one of the key adaptations that allows rabbits to survive on a diet dominated by vegetation. The rabbit essentially uses microbial fermentation to unlock nutritional value from plant material and then consumes the resulting cecal contents so that those nutrients can pass through the upper digestive tract a second time. During this second passage, the rabbit can absorb nutrients that would have been much harder to obtain otherwise. It's not a mistake in the rabbit's design, it is the design. The rabbit's digestive system is not inefficient and accidentally producing something edible. It is deliberately organized around this process. And this brings us to something rabbit owners hear constantly: hay. Hay isn't just a snack for rabbits, it is one of the foundations of a healthy rabbit diet. The rabbit's digestive system is built around processing fibrous plant material. Long strands of fiber stimulate normal movement through the digestive tract and provide the raw material that the microbial community in the cecum depends on. A diet that doesn't provide the right balance of fiber can disrupt the delicate relationship between food, microbes, fermentation, and intestinal movement. That's why simply giving a rabbit a bowl full of pellets is not equivalent to providing a properly structured diet. Imagine the digestive system as a conveyor belt. Food enters at one end and must keep moving. If the conveyor slows down too much, material can remain inside the digestive tract for too long. Rabbits are particularly vulnerable to problems involving reduced gastrointestinal movement. Their digestive system is designed for frequent intake of fibrous food. This is one reason a rabbit that stops eating can become seriously ill. The danger isn't simply that the rabbit is missing a few meals. It's that the entire system responsible for moving and processing food can begin to malfunction. Now we arrive at the question behind today's entire video. What happens if your rabbit stops eating its cecotrophs? The first thing to understand is that the visible symptom may not always be the real problem. Sometimes the rabbit isn't consuming cecotrophs because something about its environment, body condition, or health makes the process difficult. An overweight rabbit may have trouble reaching the area properly. A rabbit with pain, dental problems, arthritis, spinal discomfort, or other physical limitations may behave differently. And sometimes, what an owner interprets as not eating cecotrophs may simply mean the owner hasn't witnessed the behavior. Rabbits often consume them quickly and directly, so the process can be easy to miss. But there is another possibility. The rabbit may be producing an unusual amount of soft stool because something is wrong with its diet or digestive system. When this happens, soft material may remain around the rabbit's hindquarters rather than being consumed normally. Owners sometimes mistake this for simple messiness, but persistent dirty fur around the rear can be a sign that something needs attention. The rabbit's normal cecotroph production should be a controlled part of its digestive cycle. When that process becomes abnormal, the underlying cause matters much more than the appearance of the material itself. So where does the 48 hours claim come from? Online animal content often takes a serious biological fact and turns it into a precise countdown, because countdowns create attention. Your rabbit will die in 48 hours is obviously more dramatic than your rabbit may develop serious digestive complications. But biology rarely works on perfectly predictable timers. There isn't a switch inside a rabbit that says 48 hours have passed, now the animal dies. What is true is much more important. Rabbits can deteriorate quickly when they stop eating, and digestive problems should never be ignored. If a rabbit isn't eating normally, producing normal droppings, or behaving normally, the safest response is not to wait for a magical deadline. It is to investigate the problem quickly. And this distinction matters because rabbit owners can sometimes be reassured by the wrong thing. A rabbit may still appear alert while a digestive problem is developing. It may sit quietly. It may groom itself. It may even accept a favorite treat. But that doesn't automatically mean everything is fine. Rabbits are prey animals, and prey species have evolved to avoid displaying weakness whenever possible. This means subtle changes in eating, drinking, movement, droppings, or behavior can be meaningful. The goal isn't to panic every time your rabbit skips a bite of food. The goal is to recognize when a pattern has changed. Let's go deeper. The reason cecotrophy works is because rabbits have evolved a specialized digestive strategy called hindgut fermentation. Unlike humans, who rely heavily on digestion and absorption in the stomach and small intestine, rabbits depend significantly on microbial fermentation in the hindgut. The microorganisms living in the cecum transform plant components into substances that the rabbit can use. This relationship between animal and microbes is ancient, sophisticated, and incredibly efficient. The rabbit provides the microbes with a controlled environment and a steady supply of plant material. In return, microbial activity helps make nutrients available to the rabbit. But there's an important limitation. The rabbit cannot simply absorb every useful product while food is passing through the cecum. The material has to be rooted in a way that allows the rabbit to recover it. Cecotrophy solves that problem. The digestive tract separates different material streams, producing hard fecal pellets from fibrous residue while directing cecal material toward cecotroph production. The rabbit then consumes those cecotrophs and allows the nutrients to pass through the stomach and small intestine, where they can be absorbed. In other words, the rabbit has created a biological recycling loop. Cecotrophs contain microbial products and nutrients that contribute to the rabbit's nutritional economy. Among these are microbial proteins and vitamins produced or modified by the microbial community, as well as fermentation products. This doesn't mean cecotrophs replace the rabbit's normal diet. They complement it. A healthy rabbit still needs appropriate amounts of grass or hay, fresh water, and a suitable balanced diet. Cecotrophy is one part of a much larger system, but it is an important part because it allows the rabbit to recover nutritional value from the microbial fermentation process. And here's another fascinating detail. The rabbit's cecal microbial community is not random. It is influenced by what the rabbit eats, the physical environment inside the digestive tract, and the movement of material through the system. Diet affects the microbial ecosystem. The microbial ecosystem affects fermentation. Fermentation affects cecotroph composition. And cecotroph consumption feeds the products of that fermentation back into the rabbit's upper digestive tract. It's an interconnected loop. Change one part, and other parts can change with it. You might be wondering, if the rabbit needs more nutrients, why doesn't it simply eat more food? Because eating more isn't always the solution. Plant material contains a lot of structural fiber, and the rabbit's digestive system has to balance extracting nutrients while maintaining normal gastrointestinal movement. Simply increasing food intake doesn't recreate the unique process of microbial fermentation followed by cecotrophy. The rabbit isn't trying to consume massive quantities of food. It is trying to make maximum nutritional use of the food it already eats. This is one of the reasons rabbits are such fascinating animals. They look simple from the outside. A rabbit sits in the grass, moves its nose, chews hay, and occasionally hops across the yard. But underneath that soft fur is an extremely specialized biological machine. Its teeth are constantly adapted for processing plant material. Its digestive tract is built around fiber. Its cecum houses a microbial ecosystem, and its behavior has evolved to recover nutrients through cecotrophy. What looks disgusting to us can be perfectly logical from the rabbit's perspective. Now let's talk about the situations that should concern a rabbit owner. If you notice persistent soft stool around your rabbit's rear, a sudden change in appetite, fewer or smaller droppings, unusual lethargy, changes in drinking, weight loss, bloating, obvious pain, or a rabbit that is refusing food, don't assume that the issue is simply not eating poop. The visible symptom may be the final part of a much larger problem. Dental disease, inappropriate diet, obesity, pain, stress, gastrointestinal disorders, and other medical conditions can all affect eating and digestion. A veterinarian who is experienced with rabbits can help identify the actual cause. Dental health is particularly important because rabbit teeth grow continuously. Rabbits need to chew fibrous foods regularly, and dental problems can make eating painful or difficult. A rabbit with dental pain may begin eating less hay, preferring softer foods, dropping food from its mouth, or showing changes in behavior. Once food intake changes, the digestive system can be affected as well. So, a problem that appears to involve the stomach or cecum might actually begin in the mouth. This brings us to the part rabbit owners should take especially seriously. A rabbit that stops eating is not simply being picky. Rabbits are designed to consume fibrous food regularly. When food intake drops significantly, gastrointestinal movement can slow down. This can contribute to a dangerous condition commonly referred to as gastrointestinal stasis, or GI stasis. The longer normal eating and gut movement are disrupted, the more serious the situation can become. That is why a rabbit that stops eating should be assessed promptly, rather than waiting to see whether it magically returns to normal. GI stasis isn't one single disease with one single cause. It can be triggered or associated with pain, dental problems, stress, inappropriate diet, dehydration, other illnesses, or physical obstruction. This is why treating only the symptom can be dangerous. If a rabbit stops eating because its teeth hurt, simply trying to force food into the stomach doesn't solve the underlying problem. If there is an obstruction, the treatment approach is different again. The cause matters. A rabbit-savvy veterinarian can determine what is happening and decide what treatment is appropriate. The more you learn about cecotrophy, the less disgusting it becomes, and the more impressive it seems. Nature isn't concerned with what humans consider polite or unpleasant. Evolution is concerned with survival. If an animal lives on a diet made mostly of plants, and those plants contain nutrients locked inside complex structures, evolution can favor any strategy that allows the animal to extract more value from that food. In the rabbit, that strategy involves microbes, fermentation, selective movement through the gut, and the consumption of cecotrophs. In fact, cecotrophy is not unique to rabbits. Other animals have evolved forms of coprophagy or cecotrophy as part of their digestive strategies. Guinea pigs, for example, also rely heavily on consuming specialized fecal material to recover nutrients. Some other herbivorous mammals use related strategies. The details differ between species, but the underlying idea is surprisingly common. When digestion alone doesn't capture everything useful, recycling can become an evolutionary advantage. One reason many rabbit owners don't know about cecotrophy is that rabbits are incredibly discreet about it. A rabbit generally consumes cecotrophs directly, meaning there may be little evidence left behind. If you have never seen your rabbit doing it, that doesn't necessarily mean your rabbit isn't doing it. In many cases, the behavior happens quickly and at times when the rabbit is resting. What you see on the floor of the enclosure is mostly ordinary fecal pellets, not necessarily evidence of everything that has passed through the digestive system. And that's why rabbit owners shouldn't obsessively count cecotrophs. You don't need to watch your rabbit's rear end all day to determine whether its digestive system is functioning. Instead, pay attention to the big picture. Is your rabbit eating normally? Is it eating plenty of hay? Are normal fecal pellets being produced? Is the rabbit active and behaving normally? Is its body weight stable? Does its coat look healthy? Is there persistent soft stool or contamination around the rear? These observations tell you much more than whether you happen to witness one particular behavior. Diet is one of the biggest factors affecting rabbit digestive health. A rabbit's digestive system evolved around fibrous vegetation, so hay should form a major part of the diet for most healthy pet rabbits. Fresh greens can also play an appropriate role, depending on the individual rabbit and veterinary guidance. Pellets can provide useful nutrients when fed appropriately, but they should not replace the fundamental role of fiber. Problems can arise when rabbits receive too many calorie-dense treats, excessive pellets, sugary foods, or inappropriate human foods, while consuming too little hay. Think about what happens when a rabbit fills up on highly concentrated foods. It may become less interested in chewing hay. Less hay means less long-form fiber entering the digestive system. Less fiber can influence gastrointestinal movement and the balance of material reaching the cecum. Over time, an inappropriate diet can contribute to problems with weight, teeth, digestion, and cecotroph production. That's why the healthiest rabbit diet isn't about finding one magical food. It's about creating the right overall balance. There's another remarkable feature that connects directly to everything we've been discussing: rabbit teeth. A rabbit's teeth continue growing throughout its life. This means the rabbit needs regular chewing to maintain proper dental wear. Fibrous foods like hay require prolonged chewing, which is exactly the kind of mechanical activity a rabbit's teeth are adapted for. When a rabbit doesn't chew enough appropriate fibrous material, dental problems can become more likely. And when dental pain appears, food intake can drop. Once food intake drops, the digestive system can slow. Suddenly, a problem that started in the mouth can affect the cecum, the cecotrophs, and the entire digestive system. Body condition matters too. An overweight rabbit can have difficulty reaching the area needed to consume cecotrophs. This can result in soft material accumulating around the rear, which can create hygiene problems and potentially attract flies. More importantly, obesity itself can be a sign that the rabbit's diet isn't appropriately balanced. This doesn't mean every rabbit with a dirty rear is overweight, and it doesn't mean every overweight rabbit has cecotrophy problems. But body condition is one of the factors a veterinarian may consider when evaluating the problem. Healthy cecotrophs are typically soft and clustered, often resembling a small bunch of grapes because multiple tiny units can be held together by mucus. Their appearance is very different from the dry, round fecal pellets that most people recognize. Rabbits generally consume them directly, so owners don't normally see large quantities lying around. If you regularly find excessive soft stool around the enclosure or on the rabbit itself, that isn't something to simply dismiss as normal rabbit poop. Persistent abnormalities deserve attention. This distinction is important because rabbit owners sometimes become worried after seeing soft stool and assume their rabbit has suddenly stopped eating its cecotrophes. But there can be several explanations. The rabbit may be producing excess cecotrophes because of dietary imbalance. The material may be too soft. The rabbit may have difficulty reaching it, or the rabbit may have an underlying gastrointestinal issue. In other words, the appearance is a clue, not a diagnosis. The safest approach is to look at the rabbit as a whole. Now, let's enter the microscopic world. Inside the rabbit's cecum lives an enormous microbial community. These microorganisms aren't parasites invading the rabbit. They are part of the rabbit's normal digestive ecosystem. Bacteria and other microorganisms interact with plant material and each other, breaking down compounds that the rabbit itself cannot handle efficiently. The cecum becomes a miniature fermentation environment, and the products generated there become part of the rabbit's nutritional strategy. It's almost like the rabbit carries its own microscopic food processing factory inside its body. The relationship between the rabbit and its microbes is a perfect example of biological cooperation. The rabbit provides food and a stable environment. The microbes perform chemical transformations. The rabbit then benefits from the products of those transformations. But the system needs balance. Changing the diet dramatically, reducing fiber, introducing inappropriate foods, or allowing other illnesses to disrupt normal digestion can alter the environment in which those microbes live. That is one reason sudden dietary changes are generally not a good idea for rabbits. Fiber does more than provide material for fermentation. It also plays an important role in gastrointestinal movement. Long, fibrous material helps maintain the physical structure and flow of intestinal contents. Rabbits are specialists at processing this kind of food. Their digestive system is designed to keep food moving while separating materials based on particle size and digestibility. That sounds complicated, and it is. But the result is a system capable of extracting nutritional value from vegetation while maintaining the constant flow that the rabbit's gut needs. Rabbit behavior can make this even harder to understand, because rabbits don't necessarily follow the schedule humans expect. They are most active during dawn, dusk, and periods of the night, with activity patterns that can vary. A rabbit may eat, rest, groom, produce cecotrophs and consume them while its owner is asleep. So if you wake up and see normal dry pellets but never witness cecotroph, don't automatically assume something is wrong. Your rabbit may simply be performing one of its most important digestive behaviors while you're not watching. Instead of focusing on one behavior, rabbit owners should learn to monitor a collection of signals. Appetite is one, dropping production is another. Energy level, posture, grooming, water consumption, weight, and general behavior all provide clues. A healthy rabbit should generally show consistent interest in food and normal activity. A rabbit that suddenly becomes quiet, hides more than usual, stops eating, produces dramatically fewer droppings, or appears painful deserves attention. Rabbits can't tell us where something hurts. Their behavior becomes the message. If your rabbit stops eating, don't wait for a 48-hour countdown. Don't wait for tomorrow simply because the rabbit still looks cute and alert. Contact a veterinarian promptly, especially if the rabbit is also producing fewer droppings, seems painful, is lethargic, has a swollen abdomen, is grinding its teeth, or is behaving abnormally. Rabbit emergencies can progress quickly. The exact urgency depends on the signs and underlying cause. But a sudden loss of appetite is something that should be taken seriously. And this is where social media can become dangerous. Once an owner searches "rabbit not eating," They may find dozens of home remedies. Some involve foods, oils, medications, or force-feeding techniques that may be inappropriate depending on the cause. If there is a gastrointestinal obstruction, for example, blindly forcing material into the digestive system can be dangerous. The correct response depends on what's actually happening inside the rabbit. Internet advice can help you recognize that something is wrong, but it shouldn't replace professional diagnosis. From an evolutionary perspective, cecotrophy makes perfect sense. Rabbits live on foods that can be abundant but nutritionally challenging. Grass and leaves contain lots of fiber, but extracting nutrients from plant cell walls is difficult for mammals. Instead of giving up on that food, rabbits evolved a partnership with microorganisms and a digestive system capable of harvesting the results. Cecotrophy is the final step that closes the loop. What would otherwise be lost becomes useful again. Think about the entire cycle. The rabbit eats plants. The plants contain complex carbohydrates and fiber. The food travels through the digestive system. Microorganisms in the cecum ferment selected material. The resulting microbial products become part of the cecotrophs. The rabbit consumes those cecotrophs. Nutrients are then exposed again to the upper digestive system, where they can be absorbed. Meanwhile, less digestible fiber continues through the system and eventually becomes the familiar dry pellets. One animal, two different types of output, and a remarkably sophisticated recycling system. The reason humans find cecotrophy so shocking is simple. Our own digestive behavior is very different. We tend to think of anything leaving the body as waste, but nature doesn't use our definition of disgusting. To the rabbit, cecotrophs aren't simply garbage, they're part of a nutritional process. In fact, from the rabbit's perspective, refusing to consume them would make less sense than leaving a meal untouched. The behavior looks strange only because we're viewing it through a human biological lens. Your rabbit isn't sitting there thinking, "I'm going to eat something disgusting." It doesn't have the same psychological concept of contamination that humans do. The behavior is driven by biology. The rabbit detects the material, positions itself, consumes it, and continues its normal routine. To the rabbit, this is simply part of being a rabbit, and that is one of the most important lessons in animal biology. Behaviors that seem bizarre from the outside can be completely logical once you understand the animal's evolutionary environment. Once the rabbit consumes a cecotroph, the material enters the mouth and travels down the esophagus just like other food. It reaches the stomach, where digestion begins again, and then passes into the small intestine. This second trip is important because the nutrients and microbial products contained within the cecotroph can now be processed and absorbed. In a sense, the rabbit has given its food a second opportunity to become part of the animal's nutrition. Imagine eating a meal, but leaving some of the most valuable ingredients locked inside a container you couldn't open. Then imagine having a biological machine that could process that container and give you another opportunity to access what was inside. That's roughly the concept behind the rabbit's digestive strategy. The first trip through the digestive system isn't the end of the story. Cecotrophy allows the rabbit to recover nutritional products generated during fermentation and make use of them. But the system works best when everything remains balanced. The rabbit needs appropriate fiber. It needs adequate hydration. It needs normal dental function. It needs healthy gastrointestinal movement. It needs an appropriate microbial environment. It needs enough calories without excessive energy intake. And it needs the ability to move comfortably enough to perform normal behaviors. That's why a problem involving cecotrophs shouldn't automatically be treated as an isolated poop problem. It can be a window into the rabbit's overall health. So what should make you pay attention? Persistent soft stool, a dirty rear, sudden changes in appetite, refusing hay, fewer droppings, smaller droppings, sudden weight loss, unusual hiding, low energy, teeth grinding, a hunched posture, difficulty moving, changes in drinking, or any sudden behavior that feels different from your rabbit's normal personality. None of these signs tells you exactly what the diagnosis is, but together they can tell you something important. Your rabbit may need help. One of the biggest mistakes people make with prey animals is waiting for obvious signs of illness. A rabbit can hide discomfort surprisingly well. By the time an animal becomes visibly weak, the underlying problem may have been developing for a while. This is why responsible rabbit ownership involves knowing what normal looks like. If you know how much your rabbit normally eats, how many droppings it normally produces, how active it normally is, and what its normal behavior looks like, changes become much easier to detect. You don't need to become a veterinarian to monitor your rabbit. A simple daily check can tell you a lot. Is the hay being eaten? Is the rabbit interested in food? Are there normal dry pellets? Is the water being consumed? Is the rabbit moving normally? Does it appear comfortable? Is the rear clean? Has the rabbit's behavior changed? These observations take only a few minutes, but they can help you notice changes before they become impossible to ignore. So if you clicked this video because you saw the title, "If your rabbit stops eating poop, it will die in 48 hours," here's the real lesson. Don't focus on the number 48. Focus on what the number is trying to warn you about. Rabbit digestion is delicate. Cecotrophy is normal and important. A rabbit that consistently cannot perform normal cecotrophy may have an underlying problem. And a rabbit that stops eating normal food can deteriorate quickly. The correct response isn't panic. It is awareness, observation, and timely veterinary care. When you look at a rabbit now, you may see something completely different. You won't just see a cute animal eating hay. You'll see a biological system that has spent millions of years adapting to a challenging food source. You'll see teeth designed for constant chewing, a digestive tract designed for fiber, a cecum filled with microorganisms, a fermentation system that transforms plant material, and a behavior that allows the rabbit to recover nutrients that would otherwise be lost. The rabbit isn't doing something disgusting, it is doing something incredibly efficient. And here's the twist. The thing many people consider the grossest behavior may actually be one of the reasons rabbits are so successful at surviving on vegetation. What looks like waste becomes a resource. What looks like a strange habit becomes a nutritional strategy. What looks like a biological mistake turns out to be an evolutionary solution. Nature has a habit of doing this. The more closely you look, the more you discover that strange behaviors often have surprisingly logical explanations. Now I want to know something from you. Before watching this video, did you know that rabbits consume cecotrophs? Maybe you've owned a rabbit for years and never knew. Maybe you thought every pellet was simply poop. Or maybe you already knew exactly what cecotrophy was. Whatever your answer, tell me in the comments. And if you own a rabbit, tell me something else. What is the strangest thing your rabbit has ever done? Because I'm willing to bet the comments are going to reveal some stories that are even stranger than this one. But remember this, if your rabbit is suddenly refusing food, don't wait to see what happens. If it is producing dramatically fewer droppings, acting painful, becoming unusually lethargic, bloated, or otherwise behaving abnormally, contact a veterinarian promptly. Don't try to diagnose the rabbit based on one YouTube video. This video is here to teach you how fascinating rabbit biology is and help you recognize why normal digestion matters, not to replace professional veterinary care. So, can we say that a rabbit will definitely die exactly 48 hours after stopping cecotrophy? No, biology isn't that simple. But can digestive problems become dangerous quickly in rabbits? Absolutely. Can problems with appetite, gastrointestinal movement, diet, dental health, or cecotrophy indicate that something is wrong? Yes. And should a rabbit that stops eating be taken seriously rather than ignored? Definitely. The real danger isn't an imaginary countdown clock. The real danger is allowing a potentially serious health problem to continue without finding the cause. If you remember only 5 things from this video, remember these. First, cecotrophs are not the same as ordinary dry fecal pellets. Second, cecotrophy is a normal and important part of rabbit digestion. Third, rabbits rely heavily on fiber and healthy gastrointestinal movement. Fourth, persistent soft stool or inability to consume cecotrophs can be a sign that something needs attention. And fifth, a rabbit that stops eating should never be ignored. Those 5 facts can help you understand your rabbit far better than any dramatic internet countdown. The next time you see your rabbit quietly chewing hay, remember what's happening beneath the surface. Every bite is entering a sophisticated biological system. The teeth are processing the plant material. The stomach and small intestine are extracting what they can. The cecum is hosting a microscopic fermentation community. Cecotrophs are carrying the products of that process back toward the rabbit, and the rabbit consumes them to recover nutrients. It's an entire recycling system hidden inside an animal that weighs only a few kilograms. And somehow, nature made all of this look completely ordinary. So the next time somebody tells you that rabbits eat their own poop, don't just say, "That's disgusting." Tell them the truth. Rabbits perform cecotrophy because their digestive system is designed to recover nutrients from microbial fermentation. It's not a weird accident. It's not simply waste consumption. It's one of the most fascinating adaptations in rabbit biology. And if this video changed the way you look at rabbits, hit the like button, subscribe, and send it to someone who owns one. Then answer this question in the comments. Before this video, did you know what cecotrophs were? Yes or no? Let's see how many rabbit owners actually knew the secret.